Hello everybody, this is Brian Owen, Principal at Stimpson Community School, and in this short video I aim to highlight to you what remains in terms of the COVID isolation regulations and those new changes. I hope you will find this helpful. It's a very short video and you will be able to play it back at your leisure. So let's find out what has not changed. Well, what has not changed is that if you have a positive LFD test, i.e. a home test, you must get a PCR test within the testing centres around Peterborough within 2 days, and your child must remain off school until the result is confirmed. If a positive PCR test is returned to you, you have to remain on a 10-day isolation period as before. So what has changed? There is a change in the isolation process if a student comes into contact with a positive case, i.e. another student or staff that has tested positive. Previously, they would have had to go off and isolate. Now, since August the 16th, the issue is different. Face masks are now optional unless there is a local public health concern. And that means that if your child wishes to wear a face mask within the school, they are allowed to do so, but there is no mandatory or indeed suggested guidance that they should be wearing it. It is safe not to wear it. Students can also mix in bubbles. That means they can mix in different year groups. This is a great help in getting back to extracurricular clubs such as breakfast clubs, homework clubs and other events. I'm pleased to say that's a really positive change. So I mentioned before, if your child comes into contact with somebody that's positive, then previously they would have to go home and isolate for the full 10 days. That's not the case at this moment in time. And in this particular infogram, I'm going to go through some main points in it. It is quite busy, but I think you'll get the gist. So if somebody has a positive PCR test, the household does not have to actually isolate. And when we say positive PCR, it can also be a positive LFD. That's one of the home testing kits. Okay. Provided the household member is under 18 and 6 months, in terms of that, under 6 months, double vaccinated, are part of a vaccine trial, or exempt for other reasons. If any of those are not satisfied, then the household contact must isolate. So if your child becomes positive, then as long as you meet those criteria, you do not have to isolate and take time off work or whatever. A positive case with LFD, which is the home testing, you should actually and must go for PCR within 2 days. If that actually takes a bit longer, you still will have to remain off school. You cannot go into school until that PCR test has been taken. And secondly, the result has returned and come back as negative. NHS Test and Trace will then contact the school and then begin to actually ask the questions who they may have been in contact with and ascertain should people need to isolate, and that should be rare. If there is an identified contact, i.e. a student has tested positive and they've been able to identify who they've been with, then we will then recommend that those students begin to take LFD tests, those home testing kits, every day for the 10 days. So as long as they remain negative, they can still continue to come back into school, whereas previously they've had to isolate for further 10 days. So key message is, if somebody comes in contact with somebody positive, you will be required to do an LFD home testing kit with your child every day, and as long as the test remains negative, i.e. in the morning before they come to school or the night before, then they can come back into school or they can stay in school. Okay, so there is the flowchart. So I just wanted to go through what else Ken Stimpson will be doing. We will still be continuing with the anti-back of hands in certain communal areas and in classrooms. We will encourage students to continue to wash their hands. It's proven to be one of the ways in which you can minimise the spread of COVID. We will be remaining with our split break and separate canteen and social areas. That was born out of COVID, but it has been hugely successful. And I think students value that they're just with their peers in their year group at social times and within the canteen. Supporting those that wish to wear a face mask, we will continue to do that. Includes staff who want to wear a visor, and we will continue to be cautious about moving around the school and in close contact to students, and including large group staff meetings. Students will have an LFD test box each week should they require them, and if they run out and their tutor has no more, which is quite unlikely, then they can go to student support services. Just want to mention that we will reinforce our remote policy for those who need to isolate. For individuals, this will be continuity of learning what they will be learning in the classroom, but clearly not by their teacher, but by remote materials such as worksheets and indeed packages such as Oak Academy, which are online video tutorials. Once a group, should it arise, of more than half the class begin to actually isolate, then we would move to remote learning where the teacher delivers the lessons from the classroom. We have still on-site daily cleaning, and this is enhanced from last year, who go round wiping with cleansing material high contact areas of schools such as doors, banisters, etc. I just want to end this very short video by thank you for your ongoing support. We really do want to ensure there is minimum disruption to learning. We know how important it is for different year groups at different times. We will therefore have to continue to operate certain events virtually. For example, parents' evenings, open evenings such as new intake and post-16, and request parents wear face masks when entering the building. As I said, we will get through this. We're determined to ensure there's a minimum disruption of learning, but all these steps that we're putting in place will help and aid us have a hopeful continuation of learning through the next 3 terms. So all I'm going to say now is thank you very much for watching this webinar, and I look forward to working with you, and we will get through this, and we will support in any way we possibly can to get your child through the maximum amount of face-to-face learning as we possibly can. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.